Welcome to the Hands-On Art Ceramic Painting tutorial presented by Ambrosia. This is available in PDF format if that's easier for you to follow, and will be available on our website and in the studio. We'll begin by wiping down the surface with a wet sponge. Then we will use a Lazy Susan to create our design. We are going with a freestyle effect, but still following the contours of this scalloped bowl. As you can see here, I was following the lines of the scallops and creating that little U or oval shape in between each section. Now you can see here I messed up on the flowers, but that's okay, you can just go right over it. And then with the flower in the center, I'm doing this kind of a mandala effect where I am layering those petals. And then again following the contours of the plate to create those lines, and then just connecting those at the bottom. Going in with our first color, light brown. And remember, we do want to add 2 to 3 coats of every color. And I also add in extra detail to that bottom part later on. That's not required. You actually can't even see it later on. But just a note, if you want to add it, that's okay too. Here I'm going in with the light green and then filling in all of those flowers. Paying extra attention not to get those colors to overlap. That's what it looks like with the 3 coats. And then now I'm going in with my darker green color to fill in those little sections of the ovals that we had traced earlier. Now this part is definitely tedious, so the Lazy Susan definitely comes in handy. You want to take your time and constantly be dipping your brush into new fresh paint so that it glides on nice and easy. Now this is that design I was talking about earlier. Adding the edge to the vase section definitely would be a nice touch so that you have a nice contrast between the 2 colors. But adding those little extra kind of Polynesian lines in the middle is definitely not required, but I definitely had fun doing it. And then remember, the whole thing doesn't need to be outlined. You could do just a few little squares and triangles here and there. You know, just use your creativity and outline the areas that need most impact. Okay, now we're going in with a darker red color just to outline some of those flowers, just outlining the edge of one side of each petal. Now we can move on to the inside of the bowl. We are starting with the center and moving our way outwards with that yellow color. And the key to this is we want to layer those colors. These don't blend like normal paints do, but they do layer very well on top of each other. So we want to make sure that our paint is nice and dry before we add the next color. So that's why you see here I add the yellow, then move on to the green, then add some more yellow, move on to the orange, and then go back and add some more yellow because we need 3 layers, right? And so I'm just trying to be proactive about my time and painting while other areas are drying. Here I'm going in with the dark green and filling in those little areas that are technically the cactus. It can easily be confused with the flower petals, so don't worry if you do confuse those two. But if you do have some extra areas that you're like, oh, I'm not sure what that is, it's probably the cactus area. And then here you see me adding another layer of orange. I want this to turn out super vibrant, and so I'm using a really small detail brush to kind of fill in all of the outer corners of the petals with that orange. And then I'm going in with that yellow again to create kind of a blending effect. Now I'm not trying to blend the 2 colors together. Again, I'm just layering them on top of each other. And just going along doing that to every single petal. Now I'm going to add in that kind of uppermost part of the cactus for the flower area, and then adding in little dots with light brown. Definitely be careful with this part if you don't want to drip it on an area that you don't want paint to be. You just want to go nice and slow. Now we're just going in with another darker brown color. Okay, and just like we did for the outside flowers, we're going to add that darker red outline to the inside of these flowers, again, just to make that really pop. And then we're going to go in and add a line throughout the middle of each petal as well. Now I'm adding a little bit of yellow to the outside of each of those flowers, and just be careful not to let it drip. Now with the back of your brush, you're going to dip into some paint and then do a little circular motion to create that outer circle for our little spikes to live. And then the same thing to the inside of the bowl. And you can see I'm trying to do a little bit of a pattern where I'm scattering them just so that it looks a little more even. And then we're going right over that with another light green color. And then just like I said before, it's important to wait for these colors to dry or else they won't kind of sit on top of each other properly. Now I'm just going in with the darkest brown to really solidify the edge of that flower. I really want this to stand out, so the more darker colors I add, it'll make it pop. And then as our final touch, we are going to add some spikes all throughout every single dot that we created. And as you can see here, I'm just scattering them. It's okay if you're overlapping them. You just want to kind of give them random directions that they're facing. And then you also want to do that to the inside of the bowl. And there we have it. We're pretty much done here. So this is what it'll look like before firing. All the detail of the bottom area, all of the little spikes, the flowers. And then this is what it'll look like after firing. Thank you so much for following along with us today. We hope to see you in the studio soon.